Welcome back to Road Warrior.
And
A
stunning conclusion.
Is this game over yet?
Almost.
If I could take out them goddamn turbines, I'll be able to keep that sub in dry dock longer.
My time
You need to
is
roll a hard 8 on this one. Otherwise,
You know what?
in this
Yeah.
world.
it's a bit of a long
You know
shot,
what?
but
I am
sure
tempted
help
to
me
say I would
feel
take that game over this
Hold on,
stupid
Pedro.
game.
Yes, Java?
I'm tempted to say I would take that game over this one. Like, this is literally just one quirk. One quirk. The guy swears a lot. Oh, and he does some gory stuff, but yeah, that's really
It's not
it.
even that the gore, it's just with the motion. You don't even get to see decapitated bodies or something.
But Tio, the blood and all that.
It's very minimal.
Yeah.
It's not
Sorry, Teo, but video games are causing our adolescents to our kids to be violent, so we need to not show that. Sorry.
We gotta eradicate that shit from children's brains.
Exactly. See.
Here's an interesting thing. This guy has a sniper rifle, so you can stealth his ass from him, then pick up the sniper rifle, the Dragunov, and then starts basically killing all the soldiers that are supposed to ambush you later in the level.
Actually, Dwebs, now that I think about it, no,
that's
it's
actually somewhat creative.
Actually, this is now that I remember, it's not actually that bad. Remember how Gears 5 is coming along, where you're allowed to have all that blood and gore and decapitation shit like that, but you're not allowed to have smoking. So that's how it works. Actually, you're allowed to have violence, just not. It's kind of it's.
So you can cut people's heads off, but you can't show them smoking a cigar.
Well, it's like they said on the South Park movie, Dwebs. Remember what the NPA always says, everybody. Horrific violence is okay, as long as people don't say any naughty words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, MPAA is stupid.
No, it's not like...
And this game is stupid.
But in this case, then it should be PEGI or ESRB.
Or in our case, or in addition, in our case, the BBFC.
Also, as you can see, since it's supposed to be later on in the level, that portion where they're mapping the enemies, some of the textures are very poorly rendered there, even less than they should be.
Well, this game, I can definitely tell this game was made in like barely a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also, considering the publisher.
Let me see. Okay. I'm gonna both squint my eyes and also cue in Grant Kirkhope's music. I
thought you were gonna go for like a Metal Gear Solid reference.
Well, I'll remember, like I said, like I'm going with the GoldenEye gimmick, so I'm using his GoldenEye music. So.
Metal Gear Solid first-person shooter. You know, if you're considering Konami now are apparently using their IPs to try and target the more popular things at the minute. I'm surprised they haven't tried a first-person shooter.
That would require for them to actually like making games these days.
Not just that,
That
remember
aren't PES.
Or
re-releases. Not just that, remember that's exactly what Metal Gear Survive was for. You know, to try to make take advantage of as many popular. They put an example of a checklist game. Put in everything that's popular nowadays with any kind of care or context in, and well, we all know how Survive turned out. So.
I guess they forgot that. I guess they missed the memo that zombies weren't exactly popular. In fact, they were actually kind of groaned at more so in the video game industry.
I think Donkey put it. I think Donkey put its best in his review. Yeah, let's put in zombies. Everybody loves zombies 8 fucking years ago.
Don't mind me, assholes.
Okay.
I thought you didn't like Donkey.
Hey.
What?
When did I ever say that? I love Donkey.
I swear someone here mentioned it at some points.
Not me. I'm fine with video game Donkey.
I don't remember that.
Neither do I. James, is your memory escaping you because of how stupid this game is again?
Well,
he always forgets regardless of it.
Yeah, but this game especially.
I sat through this. I've been sitting through the Prince of Persia. I'm sitting with the Prince of Persia series in general. I've been sitting through what was that other crap game we did recently?
Oh, Terminator Salvation.
Yeah,
That game is so memorable that even I forgot it.
Yeah, and your memory's just barely better than mine.
And nothing of value is lost.
Well, here's the thing, Dibs. I'm 10 years older than you, so.
Well,
my-
Pedro, that's no excuse. You're not senile yet.
I don't know, Jova. I'm not exactly a young man either at this point.
What? Wait. You're in your 30s. In what way does that constitute being old?
Japanese one.
Yeah, in Japan, I'm considered a senior citizen at this point, Jova. Remember?
Well, neither of us live in Japan, I'm afraid.
Well,
Although imagine that. Hot damn, retiring at 35.
That's my.
Well, actually,
that's
I'm
my
32,
dream.
but yeah, sure.
That's my dream actually. I can retire young and just enjoy the rest of it.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're discussing our retirement plan.
Oh, don't worry, Dibs. Something will show up in a second to talk about. Don't
Oh,
worry.
if you're on about the credits. Yeah.
No. Because believe me, for some reason my PS3 still hasn't finished showing me glitches.
You know, for the record, this is supposed to be a high stakes option, and yet I couldn't care less. Like, this is supposed to be like, well, the height of the climax here. You're trying to stop the nuclear weapon from wreaking havoc on. Yeah, I already don't
Well,
care.
the Soviets and Americans already have nuclear weapons.
Well, remember, Dibs, we're trying to stop a nuclear weapon that's already fired. Like, you know, there was another movie that did. Well, there was another piece of media that did something like this and actually made it exciting.
I swear a Bond movie did that.
No, well, yeah, that too, but Mission Impossible 4, Ghost Protocol.
Yeah.
Like, now that. Okay, now let's compare this to that. The
I mean,
final.
hell, Joe, in terms of nuclear, in terms of like stopping the nuclear threat, Mission Impossible 6 does that too.
Yeah. In Mission Impossible 4, the bad guy who actually had an interesting, well, obviously an insane motive, but supposedly trying to bring peace by aiming a nuke, the bad guy went to every single length he could to keep his plan en route, even so far as killing himself. Whereas here, I don't feel that. Like, it's way easy to
Okay,
snipe
I
out
think
the
it's here
enemies.
that I realize for some reason after that glory kill, the controller started not responding with the triangle, square, circle, and X buttons for some reason.
Oh no.
Oh, so you had to finish the game the handicap.
But the thing is, it also made me invincible apparently.
So let me get this straight. A glitch in the game makes you invincible.
I mean, mind you,
But it takes
as if-
control
as if
away from him.
Marcenko wasn't
It's so
invincible
terrible.
As if Marcenko wasn't invincible for nothing.
I played through the entirety of Mindjack, well, almost the entirety of Mindjack, without running into any of its dreaded, glitches. And yet, this is the game that throws me that kind of, bug.
Well,
You
I'd
have to
expect
wonder,
it.
is this
I'd
a
expect it.
blessing or
It
a
was-
curse at this point?
It was made by a developer in 10 months and came via Bethesda.
Yeah.
Again, I know Bethesda didn't develop the game, but this has got all their hallmarks.
Oh, exactly.
A boring story, it's glitchy as fuck. With phoned in voice acting.
And let's not forget, Bethesda being the publishers were the ones who called the shots with the release date and everything. Again, it's sort of like how Square Enix are also at fault for how Quiet Man turned out. Even though they are the publishers, they played a hand in how bad that game turned out with how they handled calling the shots on it. Oh my god.
What other examples could we think of?
And yet, I still think Quiet Man is a worse game than this. Unbelievable.
Well, this is actually a game, whereas the Quiet Man is barely a game. It has like what?
This one is a bad game, but still.
The
Well,
plot
I mean,
is more comprehensible here.
Not just that, like the Quiet Man is a 3-hour game with at best 40 minutes of gameplay in it.
And mind you, the first time you play through that game, you can't understand a lick of what's going on because you can't hear a thing. That you have to play the
that's
game
the thing,
twice in order to get a
really-
semblance of the plot is BS.
The only reason the plot here is comprehensible is because there's very
Also, this section can go fuck itself. You're basically now stuck in the open with a lot of soldiers, and most of the covers is explodable. So you need to pick your targets.
Well, aren't you invincible now thanks to the glitch, or was that just for that one room?
This reminds me
No,
of
the glitch is already gone.
this reminds me of Grand Theft Auto Vice City, because one cool thing in Grand Theft Auto Vice City is that there's a character in it who has a specific car, a brand of car. That specific car that he drives in that one mission that you meet him in the first time, that car for some reason is indestructible, like literally indestructible to any kind of damage, bullets, missiles, you name it.
Wow.
Even you can even go through a tank with it and it will just remain completely undamaged. So one cool thing that I always have to do when playing that game is intentionally fail the mission on purpose and kill him, and then take his car and put it on a garage. Because basically the way GTA, for those who don't know, the way GTA works is if you want to save a specific car that you got, you have to save it in the garage. In one of your garages. Just do that, and start the mission again, and there you go. You get to keep a car that is impervious to damage, which makes a lot of missions involving driving a lot easier because you don't have to worry about car damage. It's weird because it's always you wonder if it was intentional, not a glitch, because you know it's only that one specific car. I mean, I'm considering considering Rockstar loves to put tricks and secrets into their games. I wouldn't be surprised if the developers intentionally made that on purpose so that players who notice can take advantage of it as a nice trick.
You know...
Well, ideally, from what you just told me, ideally, it will be not a glitch or even intentional or unintentional, still a glitch, because ideally it would be that the car is impervious to damage for the purpose of the escort mission that you're supposed to do with this guy.
No, it's not. That's the thing. It's not that too. It's because the car itself is not even used in the mission itself. It's just the car that he arrives in, and then we just do things with him, and then he goes away in the car again. Like the car, you're not even meant to drive that car. It's just that for some reason, if you kill him and steal his car, the mission will fail, but you'll get an indestructible car for some reason out of it. It's weird. Anyway, cutscene.
Yeah, it's a bit weird because Marcenko did activate the explosive, but now it's relatively surprising, as if he didn't realize he just bombed the facility.
Oh shit, did I blow up the building again?
Yes, you did. That was part of your...
Pedro, you're doing it wrong. You do it like this. Oh shit, I fucking blew up the goddamn building all over a fucking again.
Yeah, now that I think about it, yeah, it's pretty much a Frank Miller type of narrative.
Honestly, even Frank Miller doesn't swear this much.
I don't know, Jova. There's also the repetition that fits too.
Okay, sure. The repetition, but don't get me wrong, Frank Miller swears a lot, and it's gotten to a point where some of his comics had to be censored. I'm looking at you, Batman, and I mean Aspar, issue number 10.
Yeah.
Oh boy, but even still though, even he doesn't swear this much. And trust me, I've read my fair share of Frank Miller and seen my fair share of Frank Miller.
All that's missing is the incredibly horrible and irritating narration.
Yeah,
like a bellow of Zeus. Like a bellow of Zeus. What the fuck does that even mean, Frank? Do you even know what that means?
Last mission. Really? We're already at the end of the game.
If that happens, the Soviets can chalk up the Cold War.
Well, we should be grateful that there's no... Oh, sorry.
Just gravy.
You want the narration, Pedro? There you go.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, it's just the briefing, so it's...
Well, I'm sorry, I
not
didn't hear what Rourke was trying to say.
This is not Frank Miller style narration, though. It's nowhere near as annoying.
Debatable.
No, well, to be honest, Jova, it's also on the point of being just a briefing or narration. It's just sparkled with Marcenko's, over swearing.
And that's still
and racism.
annoying.
Keep in mind,
Yeah.
it's been pretty much, clear in what he thinks of communists of all kind.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a quote in this game where he yelled, "Goddamn copy motherfuckers." Okay, that's not his voice, but yeah.
Alright.
You are on high
Basically-
alert. Oh, yeah.
No, but basically you're in submarine hangar. You finally trace down the submarine, and you just need to destroy it, or at least deactivate the missiles on it, and you're good to go.
Riveting.
The only thing that we're missing to go full Esbar Jova is a female character, so just so that
She can be a prostitute.
and keep talking about how get out of my way, sperm bank. And no, I'm not letting go of that because that's still to this day the worst line ever written in anything ever, as far as I'm concerned.
Even worse than any line in Transformers Original.
Yes. No, Glibs. I challenge you to find me a worse line of dialogue than "Get out of here, sperm bank." I dare you. You won't make it. You will not succeed.
I'll try and remember that.
I cannot even imagine how a worse line than that would even be like.
Who's hiding, dickhead? I don't know.
Nah, that's not even close to the level of stupidity and offensiveness. Glibs.
Oh my god,
well,
that guy
we're right
literally
here, you
saw
know.
you, and he did. The enemies in this game are some of the dumbest I have ever seen.
How did with stuff like this? No wonder the Soviets didn't fire any rockets. They were incapable of doing so.
Should we fire the rocket? No. That would be bad. But wait, do we even consider this bad? I don't know.
Are you sure the Soviets weren't run by old Gorilla?
Shit, power's back on. Fan-fucking-tastic.
Who are you even swearing to? Like,
Did you kill him by shooting his ass?
No. Did you see Jova? He's like Spider-Man. He's talking to himself while fighting the enemy.
Well, actually, Spider-Man mocks the enemy to help alleviate the tension.
Here's the big difference: is this guy is talking to himself apparently. Spider-Man is intentionally mocking the enemy.
Now, okay, maybe someone could say, "Oh, he swears to alleviate the tension." Yeah, that doesn't seem to actually be alleviating the tension for him,
Because
though.
there is no tension.
Again.
Exactly.
You want to talk about swearing to alleviate the tension? Wolverine does that good in the comics.
Oh, he does that in Logan.
Remember, Glibs, Insomniac themselves said best in that cutscene in the Spider-Man PS4 game. I'm sorry, Doc, I have a bad habit of cracking jokes in under tense situations. Like, it's a personal defense mechanism that Peter has. Like, he does that to avoid cracking under pressure. It's a defense mechanism.
Dare I say the music actually sounds like it's trying for once.
It's too little too late, Jova, if you ask me.
Oh yeah.
Well, honestly,
late.
I think, honestly, in terms of the tracks, the most memorable one for me is the one with
You're here, there's nothing I do.
Shouldn't we be quoting more so The Bodyguard if we're really gonna do that? And I will always know.
You know, you're creating a lot of soundtrack with
Honestly, if there's anything this game could use to spice things up, soundtrack dissonance, a joke that's actually funny, something that's not swearing.
Something to actually put some kind of laugh into this thing.
Like, holy cow, again, this may not be the worst game we've ever commented on, but it's one of the most lifeless we've ever had.
Well, this is considered one of the worst games of all time for a reason.
And I can see why.
It's the worst kind of bad game, dude. It's
Imagine-
the boring one.
and
It's
imagine having
it's
to-
It's not even fascinating to dissect or anything. Even Fair Fencer F, or as painful as it is, gives us something to work with. This game is just dull.
Imagine.
There's nothing to make fun of. It's just dull.
Imagine, if you will, paying full price for this game, expecting a good time. And this is what you get for your hard-earned
I
money.
don't remember how much was it sold at launch, honestly.
It
pretty
was
sure
a
it was
Bethesda
full.
product. What do you think?
Pretty sure it was
Remember-
full price, considering it's Bethesda we're talking about to you.
Remember, Drebs, even Fair Fencer F had that impaling moment with Bernard that caused Teo to have a complete, like, almost die of laughter.
Oh,
basically.
Tio had several
So-
moments like that across that playthrough, culminating with the part where he drank vodka.
Well, that was more. That was more to his
Again,
defense for himself.
dumbest enemies ever.
What, this
Well,
game or
but-
Fairy Fence Rough?
This
No, just talking about the enemy AI that charges,
enemy AI,
towards you.
not really for comparison, Joe. But enemy AI in RPGs is never really has this kind of problem because
Depends. Sometimes
turn-based RPG AI is relatively easy to program.
Oh, I was talking about more so like action RPG.
Well, yeah, but
That
Preference
can
Ref
vary.
is not a Preference Ref is a turn-based RPG. Though.
No. I wasn't talking. Okay, when I asked about the enemies being stupid and very offensive, I was talking more so about story rather than gameplay.
Oh, okay. Well, but Jova was talking about. Sorry, Blaze was talking about gameplay though. So.
Yeah, I didn't know that at the time. Anyway,
When it comes to turn-based combat, it's relatively easy to program the enemies, really. There's not that much to fuck up. Just have the carrot, just program some basic AI to have them do specific things in specific times, and that is usually enough. So,
If you want a hindsight, go to any enemy page in the Final Fantasy wiki, and they have updated all them practically recently with the entire, script on what they're actually supposed to do.
wasn't there that idiotic enemy in Quest 64?
well, Quest 64 is more action.
Which one? Also, Joe.
Yeah, Quest 64. I thought that was turn-based.
Also, Joe, Quest 64. Quest
Pretty sure
64
it is.
doesn't really care about the enemy, the enemy species, more like the enemy, the magic type that it's using.
Wasn't
Not that it
talking about that. I'm talking about the enemy AI in that game.
They just
True.
keep using attack spell basically.
Yeah, basically. Not that it matters. You can just make yourself invincible in that game.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Did the Nintendo 64 ever have any other RPGs that want that?
No, Joe. No, that's the thing. Because of Nintendo's decision to use cartridges, most JRPG developers,
Square jumped ship to PlayStation.
not just Square, Dwebs, most pretty much.
There wasn't
mo-
even a Fire Emblem for Nintendo 64.
No, most JRPG, yeah, pretty much all. Yeah, all JRPG developers jump ship to the PS1. There's for specific reasons. One, CDs are notoriously much cheaper to manufacture, which means the companies would waste less money in mass production. Combined with that the CDs had a lot more storage space than the N64's cartridges. It allowed them to put a lot more content, whereas making a huge 60-hour JRPG on the Nintendo 64 was a monumental task because those cartridges just don't have that much space. So unless you made it 16-bit, which would defeat the whole purpose of making a game for that console, it wouldn't really work. So developers just okay, fuck this. We're just making this with the PS1. I mean, the Nintendo 64 just wasn't feasible to make a JRPG in it, which is why Quest 64 ended up being as bad as it was. It just wasn't. The console just wasn't feasible for that.
I'd say Quest 64 sucked mainly because of bad development issues more than anything, and a lackluster story, and again the stupid game and AI, and a lackluster protagonist, and lackluster. It kind of goes without saying.
True, Joe, but when you take away those aspects and take a more break down the game more, you'll notice that the game in terms of content is just like 5 hours of content basically, which for a JRPG is unacceptable. So you can because of the small cartridge space, they were forced to make what is basically a 5-hour JRPG, and they had to design the game in a way to pad it out as much as they could. Basically.
Not really an excuse for how bad that game turned out.
Oh
though.
no, I'm not trying to excuse the game's poor quality, Joe. Far from it. I'm just trying to explain why that game was on the 64. Why that one game before, like they had to basically make a 5-hour game, and well, it doesn't feel like 5 hours because you spend so much time grinding in that game, so you can actually defeat it. So as a result, you spend like 30 hours playing that game, but like 25 of those hours is just grinding.
How sad is
When you
it
break
that
it
talking about Quest 64 is a more interesting topic than this game?
Like I've just said, Joe, but this game is not even Quest 64 is actually fun to dissect because it's an interesting specimen. This is not an interesting specimen. This is a boring specimen, and if I was the primary lead scientist, I would kill it because and move on to the next specimen. Because this
Guess
is a
it's
specimen.
logical.
This specimen is not even worth experimenting on.
You reminded me of the ending of Spyro 5. AKA,
Heroes.
yes. You know the one where the professor literally takes the villain and is going to Experiment
Did you
on
just
him
clip
and
through
totally
the
not.
fucking gate?
No, I was waiting for it to be raised.
No, I know, but like it looked like you literally went through the gate before while
I
it was
don't
still in front of
remember
you.
Yeah, it
Well,
did
the thing
look
is,
like
Joe,
that.
I haven't played Spyro 5.
I only played it, but very briefly actually. I basically got up to the point where I met the professor's niece. I forgot what she's called. She's voiced by Tara Strong, if I recall correctly.
And
I
that game
got
was also made in. was also made in Britain, funnily enough.
And I kind of gave up because it was like at the end tail of my PS2 experience.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, late 2004,
Fuckers
both
suck ass.
Crash and Spyro games that were released were made in the UK. Hero's Tale was done by Eurocap.
Too heavily
Crash
mixed
Twin
with...
and Twin Sanity was made by the Oxford division of Traveller's Tales.
Basically, Joe, that's the thing. After whatever disaster was Enter the Dragonfly, Hero's Tale is technically better, but
it still is problematic.
And it still has very questionable things.
Oh, heck yeah.
Like original the character, a complete swap of Spyro that shows up for one cutscene only.
Oh, and let's not forget Spyro's love interest, too. Pink Rico.
And
Which he
honestly,
suddenly has.
honestly, aside from a couple of tracks, I don't even think the music was all that memorable either.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I don't envy the developers of that. They had to come off, well, by my opinion, they had to come off like 98% of the good music that came from the previous 4 games.
Honestly, though, Dwebs, who was really going to give Dragonfly that credit considering the bad taste it left in people's mouths? And honestly, despite Stuart Copeland coming back for that, I think the man just went insane during the making of Dragonfly's
Well, that's interesting. That's the thing.
soundtrack.
The only really bad track in that game was the final boss track. Everything else was fine.
The problem is it's the final boss track. That's the one people are going to remember.
Well, actually,
right?
more accurately should
There we go.
more accurately should be the only boss track.
Yeah.
Good job, Terry. You're the Call of Duty player ever.
Well, but
Call
apparently,
of Duty
How do
player
I-
ever.
Probably please go.
I don't know, Joe. I'm just struggling to come up with jokes befitting of what's going on right now. If you came up with a better one, go ahead.
it's interesting you mentioned that, Joseph, because hell, isn't himself wasn't exactly
Oh?
all that happy about it turned out. I mean, he watched like an advert for the game that the developers showed to him, and they were like, yeah, what the fuck happened here?
Even if I'm not playing it, no matter how many times I see it, I cannot get used to that terrible transition between first person and third person when you take cover. It's so it's so unintuitive.
I know, right? Again,
Either make it a third person shooter or make it a first person. Don't.
It's not even like Star Wars Battlefront where you can switch between the two.
no,
Yeah,
it's
no,
like
yeah,
you're
yeah,
railroaded to them.
Like, yeah, if you can freely switch between the two at any point and not even bother with one option if you don't want to, that's fine. But this mix of both just... I'm not even
Which one
playing
you
it, but even I
talk
can
about
tell
for
it's
special?
awkward as shit. Like, it's so unintuitive to try to... When you play a first-person shooter, and when you play a third-person shooter, they're completely different mindsets. And,
Yeah.
forcing the player to completely change their mindsets like that on a fucking whim, it's so awkward.
It's disorienting to the player. It's not fun. I don't get why some developers do this. It hurts me inside, and it just adds in one of the reasons to why I hate this game.
Anyway, we're at the home stretch actually. We need to place the charges on the last subs and we're good to go.
Not even the final boss. Like,
No.
again, this is... I mean, maybe the books are better, but this game series is not giving me any incentive to check out the books.
The books are better.
Well, the bad was better.
Yeah.
Perseus Jackson, it was much better in the books. The movies sodomized it, especially the
Which
second
one?
Yeah, I was
Both-
gonna say which one.
Both movies sodomized the book, so the second
Oh, I
one
thought
even
there
more
were 3
so.
movies.
What about
Wait. 3 movies? I thought there was
I don't
just
know.
2.
I'm literally asking.
Okay, they only got up to making movie 2 based off of the second book of a 5-book series. That's not counting all the sequel series to Percy Jackson. Basically, the Percy Jackson book series had 5 books. Oh, and Rick Riordan has gone on record to say that he does not like the movie. Mind
What a surprise.
here's the real dumb thing. He almost got to be a writer for the first movie, but for some reason they decided, nah, no, what would you know about your own creation? And booted him off the project.
Jesus.
So it's not even just that. Like, it's so.
Maybe they saw this selling. No, this game came out. Actually, no. Yeah, this game did come out before Percy Jackson.
I actually don't know.
What about Aragon? What about Aragon? Was the well? That's what I'm asking. What about Aragon? Was the book better than the movie?
Pedro, if you have a short memory, I suggest you to watch the end of our commentary where I explain exactly the rest of the differences with the book and what happens in the books afterwards. Believe me, it's not that much better.
Okay then.
I mean, again, Aragon was essentially kind of, I don't want to say complete teen fan fiction, but well, let's just say it hasn't aged the best book-wise.
It's interesting, but like another interesting one for me is Ready Player One, because Taylor tells me that apparently the book is even worse. But I've also heard people say that the book is much better and that the movie is a bastardization. Like it varies a lot. Well, all I know is that as far as I'm concerned, Spielberg's movie is garbage.
And then you have Spider-Man Chronicles, a movie that combines 5 books into one adaptation, and yet somehow managed to get positive reception.
Was it a good film?
It's been a long time since I've seen it. I mean, I remember having fun with it as a kid, and yes, I had read the books before seeing the movie.
There we go.
Well, I mean, I still do use reviews as an indication of whether to go see a movie or play a game or not. I mean, for the most part, it's been accurate. I mean, I wish I paid attention to when I saw Robin Hood.
Except oh, really? How was that? Wait, hold on. Which Robin? There's been so many.
Lionsgate's Robin of 2018.
Ooh. Yeah, that one.
So
wait for it. We're done. Game's
that's
over.
it? We're done?
Congratulations, Taylor. You've destroyed the Mako reactor. Now you. Well,
Anyway, time for the epic ending.
Is this the?
That porn stash.
Party's over.
Are we in a Bruno Mattei
Yay!
movie now?
The party is
What took you
over.
motherfuckers so long?
Oh my God,
Oh,
that's exactly it. I just realized
Looks
this
like
is
we got all
basically a
dressed
Bruno
up for
Mattei
nothing.
movie, as a game.
Present for Admiral Pate.
Think about it. An action, an American, Hollywood
You got it.
action star
Oh,
who's
he actually
I heard
knows
the
that he's
Thomas
gonna
got
be
too good
court-martialed.
I'm sorry.
So he knows that what he's
No,
doing is
sorry.
illegal and wrong.
Fucker.
Oh no! And he did this. Why?
Also, that smoke effect.
Like he could have. Okay,
And that's it. Riding
Well,
on
that's the game.
sunset. Anyway, let's hear Louis' favorite part, the credits.
I'm gonna
Oh, Ben Kingsley's brother. I see.
No, basically, they took his swearing quotes from the game and
I
made
mean,
it
a
into
rap
a
out
rap
of it.
song.
love this.
What?
I have no idea whose idea was this.
that was what?
No surprise, motherfuckers.
You know, I'll take the rap from Mega Ran in Mighty Number 9. Thank you very much. You got me to compliment Mighty Number 9 game. I hope you're proud of yourself.
Places to go, people to meet. Assholes are everywhere. Fuckers are out for us. I hope.
So, there you go, guys. Our protagonist is getting court-martialed despite saving the world, because that's what we
But
like
it's
to
the thing,
say.
like he basically, by having recovered the nuclear activation codes, the one that Russia was about to use, he'll use that as his bargaining chip.
Huh.
Rock and roll, motherfuckers. Rock and roll.
Actually, no. Marcenko didn't write this game. He just
Actually, that's what the Wikipedia page says it.
Well, the credits there just said that.
And you'd
Weird.
be surprised to it. Sometimes the credits of games don't always properly credit people.
Whatever.
It's a weird thing.
Whatever. It doesn't really matter anyway, because whoever wrote this just did the, all through. Anyway.
Sorry, assholes. Quiet.
So
It's not even an intuitive rap. Again, the joke gets old after the first
Well,
minute.
like I said though, they just took,
It's still better-
They just took they took quotes from the game and put it in a rap song.
it's still better than G-Man, but not by much.
What's G-Man?
G-Man is this YouTube rapper, and he is the worst rapper. Like, he has no sense of lyrical rhythm, like, at all. Like, it's god-awful.
The one gag that has been done with him, you spoofing the He-Man theme, actually has more, weight to it than the actual raps that he does. Sorry. Anyway, final thoughts,
To give
because
you an
I
idea,
get the
Java.
message.
Sorry, go ahead.
This sucks, as you may have noticed. And despite me having an edge, tell clearly right now that this piece of shit sucks. It's the merciful thing is that it's short, but that's pretty much it. Also, one thing that I didn't show, because of the performance, is that the actual menus and the loading screens, are in actually 60 frames.
Wow, menus in
Solid,
60
mind you, hold on.
frames.
But as soon as the game renders, everything's in 30 FPS or even lower. So what's the fucking point?
To show
Anyway,
that our menus
this
can
is
go
just-
that high?
It's just awful. I don't get. I get the rush factor, and I know that Rebellion is a better team than this, but this is just so bad. Not even interesting, like Pedro said. It's just forgettable for how unmemorable it is. So that is clearly not something that Bethesda will continue with among its Olympus of IPs, and I think it's for the better. Anyway, next, Dwebs.
It sucks. It's boring. Again, the best part's the fucking credits. That's bad. What else can I say? It's an absolute build fest, and how did they even manage to get Mickey Rourke in the first place? They could barely. Bethesda probably blew most of their budget scrapping the first iteration of this game and getting Rebellion to remake it like 10 months.
Maybe that's why the game is the way it is. They blew their budget on Mickey Rourke's salary.
Possible.
It's true that Mickey Rourke will say yes to anything, apparently.
Not as much as
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart, though.
Oh god,
Well,
yeah.
Or Morgan Freeman.
Well, the point is, this game sucks, and that's all I gotta say.
Pedro.
Screw it. Next.
Ugh, it's the swearing makes it seem it's a try-hard, terrible attempt at sounding edgy and just comes across as pathetic and immature. The gameplay is as generic as it gets. The story, whatever the fuck. This rap is terrible. I don't remember a single thing from the music. The graphics are putrid brown crap. Then that's basically all I can say, really. There's basically nothing to say about this thing. It's just so devoid of any kind of personality or identity. Like, it's so... I'm literally struggling to even say anything about this thing, aside from very basic shit.
Something's bad when you have trouble listing off the reasons you hate it, because usually it's easier to talk about stuff you hate rather than stuff you like.
It's not even a matter of that. Whatever. The point is, this sucks. Moving on. Java closes out.
I'm done. Oh, okay. Seriously speaking, though, what is there to this game? Oh yeah, there's swearing, but that doesn't matter. There's gameplay, but that doesn't matter because it sucks. There's the semblance outline blueprints of a story, which doesn't matter because it sucks. There's music, which doesn't matter because it sucks. Am I starting to sound repetitive? Good, you have an idea of how it feels playing this game, because it sucks! That's the nicest thing I can say about this game. Like, this game doesn't feel like it does anything right. Even the big powerhouse named Mickey Rourke sounds like he's not interested. And he's the guy who usually excels at this kind of acting. It's like, nothing went right with this game. Nothing. There's nothing to be proud of in this game. Money wasted. Time wasted. A developer ruined. Granted, they have themselves to blame partially for that, but still.
Oh, we got better from this at least.
True, yeah. I mean, I guess you gotta
Well,
hit...
well, not this particular division of Rebellion. It ended up closing down.
Okay,
Well,
then.
it didn't close down the entirety of Rebellion at least.
Well, I feel sorry for the people who were on this particular branch then. Then again, they...
Poor Rebellion Derby. They were the guys in the previous incarnation. They made the freaking Tomb Raider games.
And now they were reduced to this. Oh, boy. Okay, I'm done. This game has wasted enough of my time.
So yeah, that was a thing, I guess. But well, at least for now we're done with this. But eventually in the future, I have another similar product, a game that Bethesda published around the 2010 year, that tried to be its own new IP, but ended up being very bad and starring in that case a B-list action heroine. So we'll see you for that.
See
See
ya.
you then.
So yeah.